What's going on YouTube? Burlington Northern HO fan here, and today we've got an unboxing video on a locomotive I am very excited to unbox. I've been wanting one of these for a very long time, and today we've got one. Also, excuse my voice, I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm getting over it. I'm fine now. But let's take a look at this thing that we're going to unbox today. It's a Bowser RS3 Burlington Northern DCC sound, and oh my god, does it look like a beauty. This thing it looks amazing. So let's get this thing open and let's see what we can do with this thing. Alright, so to get the box open, we're just going to lift the cover, and then we've got the locomotive itself and our instructions down here, along with some parts, which I'm sure will be explained in the instructions what those are for. Sorry about that. I'm probably going to be pausing a lot in this video, but I'd rather have that than me sneezing on camera. So let's take the instructions out of here first. Set the locomotive out of there. So this has a Lock Sound 5 decoder in it that's installed from Bowser. We have all our functions. We have our instructions on about the decoder. There's no back page to this instruction manual, but we have that. There we go. And then we have our lubrication instruction manual, which is very nice. Tells you how to take it apart and do all you need to maintenance it, which is awesome. I'm glad that comes with it, because I'm expecting to have this thing for a very long time, because this is probably going to be my new favorite locomotive in the collection, since I'm a little bit of a secret Alco lover, I guess you could say. But let's take this thing out of the box here. So we're just gonna kind of, if we can pull this out, just like so. Got a bit of some foam sides here, kind of acting like shock absorbers. So we've got a bit of a little foam sides here on the plate, just like that, and the locomotive is screwed down to the plastic plate here. So let's get our screwdriver and we'll unscrew that real quick, and we'll get the locomotive free from the base. Let me find the right screwdriver real quick. Okay, the locomotive has been removed from the base. It was just 2 Phillips screws and a big metal flat washer. And we have our locomotive unhooked. There's 2 holes in the bottom where the screws were. And we'll look in our manual here real quick and see if those screws need to go back into the locomotive. I doubt it, but you never know. Sometimes those screws are important. Alright, so it looks like in the instruction manual that those screws are not important to the locomotive, but as we can see here, this is a pretty beautifully detailed locomotive from Bowser. We have our bell, which is kind of specific to what the Northern Pacific units had of these locomotives. They had that steam era bell on the top that they added to these locomotives. We have our beacon on top here, which I believe will operate. We have our firecracker antenna and our horn, our number boards, our MU cables are here, along with all the hoses that are needed. We have a coupler cut lever right here. Nice, looks like we have, it's not a Katy coupler, but it's a decent coupler. Our disc brake, our brake wheel in the front. We have a nice detailing here on the top of this locomotive. Our nice detailed inside the radiator fan. You can see the radiator fan. It's a very beautiful detailed locomotive. But let's go take this thing to the track, and we'll see how it works. Right, we've got her here on the track. And I also forgot to mention that there is a dynamic brake here in the short hood, as you can see by the piping on the top of the short hood here. So it was a little bit more modernized for the Burlington Northern at this time, because this locomotive would have been old by the point that they owned it. So, but let's move past that. Put it on the program track. I've set it to its long address, 48082. And now we're going to test it out. Let's see what that startup sounds like. Hitting function 8. That sounds amazing. It's a little loud, but we can change that. We can fix that. So we've got a bunch of horns and a bunch of whistles and a bunch of functions to go through here. I'm going to pick the most accurate horn, an accurate bell for this locomotive, since this will be the most prototypical locomotive I have in my collection. So let's start with that horn. That is the basic horn, which I'm going to assume is the Hancock 4700 whistle. And then we have our bell. A little bit of an Alco bronze bell. That was with function 1. A coupler noise with function 3. Sounds pretty good. Dynamic brake is on function 4. Function 5 is our beacon, which I was correct. This locomotive does have a working beacon, which is awesome. Alright. F6 is not used. F7 is flange squeal, which we won't be able to hear until the locomotive is moving. F8 is prime mover, turning it on and off, so I just turned it off, obviously. So there's our shutdown sequence. We'll turn that back on real quick. F9 is drive hold, which will hold the locomotive in a specific speed that you set it, and then you can rev up the locomotive or lower down the locomotive. F10 is the independent brake, which if we go to our board here, I set the wrong thing, we go to our board here, functions, F10. Didn't hear anything, but we might be able to hear something while it's moving. Something changed, so that might be our brake noise there. F11 is the radiator fan, which, if we look on top, it is not spinning, it is not function, so maybe just a noise that we can hear. I don't hear anything right now. This locomotive might not be equipped with it. F12 is the dimmer for the lights, so in order to see that, we need to turn the headlights on. So if we go back to 0, we'll turn our lights on. Give me 1 second here. Alright, we've got it set up the correct way now. I messed something up while I was programming it, the long address. I reversed the location of the light, so when it was going forward, the rear light would come on, so I had to fix that. I fixed that. So now we can turn the light on. Here we can see our light in front. And we're on. Function 12 is our dimmer. So you can see that dimmed the light and brightened it. F13 is not used. F14 is our handbrake. Okay, so that is the circle brake in the front here, the wheel brake. getting spun. That's actually really cool. So we can turn that off. Then F15 is our isolation switch. Didn't look like it did anything. F16 is air dryer. Air dryer on shutdown. Didn't do anything. F17 is our brake set release. Did not do anything. F18 is our sanding valve. You can hear the sand. F19 is our short air lever off. So that's our noise there. That noise right there. F20 is our air compressor. F21 is the air dryer. That noise there. F22 is our cab door. So there was a noise there. It was very quiet because you can't hear it over the prime mover. But there was a noise there of the door getting shut. Engine compartment doors is F23. There's also a noise there for the engine compartment doors, which is pretty quiet. F24 is our reverser center. F25 is our shutters open and closed. So there was a noise there again. It was pretty quiet. F26 is manual notching up. Pretty neat. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. F29 is load. My functions don't go up that high. So, but yeah, those are all the functions. Let's get this thing rolling and see how it runs. There we go, we have it on the layout and it is rolling. I said notch 1, bring it up to notch 2 here. Very good sounding locomotive. I'm going to wait for it to come back around, and then I am going to set up the horn and the bell that I want for it. And then we'll get some prototypically correct freight for it, and we'll have it run around the layout. There we go. Alright, let me set up the horn and bell. Alright, we have the locomotive all set up the way I want it to be. I've got it in the yard here. Now this locomotive, the only complaint that I've seen online is that it doesn't come with a keep alive. So, best way to test this is to put it through this track that's in this yard, because this track that's in this yard is not great. So we'll see what happens when we go over these switches here. I have a line of cars, cut a car set up that is prototypically accurate compared to this locomotive. Let's go get it on the main line and get it hooked up to those cars. Well, I'd say it seemed to do pretty well, but I did not have it going that slow, but I think it did pretty well. Okay, let's get this thing hooked up. Bang! Okay, let me make sure this thing's coupled up, because that car is a little sketchy. Alright, we've got her hooked up. Let's get a move on. Decent. Do a bit of a grade crossing cadence here. I am very happy with this locomotive. I'm going to see if I can get set up some cool shots for this as it's running around the layout. That looks amazing. Alright, let's see if we can get her to stop right in front of us here. This thing is definitely my new favorite locomotive in my collection. This thing just blows everything out of the water. But I'm very happy with this. But that's going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next one. And I will see you guys next year. You guys have a happy new year. Peace.